ready? Richard. And I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up. But can't say we are
Jessica. Okay.
Why ready to Richard?
Togo. What do you want to try to do me? Togo.
Yeah.
What have I done to you, Togo? Why do you know me? You want to do this to me?
Just can't even and you remember for you really got 20 years to come on. You were down massive.
Togo.
Well, we put on a young.
Okay, what do you want?
First time.
Well,
Masha, yeah, sure, why?
Mention it.
I just want resting.
First time no one to tell him, boy, yeah, no,
that would oh, Blan, Kobukun. Yeah, you didn't be interviewed the man. Masa, don't try any fucking movie, yeah, chill.
Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. I've always maintained that, especially in these times, the word friend is being used so loosely by some people. It appears that the meaning of the word friend is actually being lost, and people throw that word around as though they mean it, when in actual fact, they don't even really appreciate the depth of the meaning of that word. Therefore, trust has also become one of the most scarce commodities on the market, where even those who are saying they are your friends cannot be trusted because they don't have your interest at heart and they are going to betray you at the slightest opportunity. That is what epitomizes today's true crime story, where it's coming from my own country, Ghana, in West Africa. And in this case, it involves a man from the country of Togo, also in West Africa. It actually shares a border with Ghana. Now, this man has crossed the border into my country, Ghana, and he is currently in the grips of the police, charged with allegedly trying to sell a Ghanaian for money rituals so he could amass immense wealth and ride off into the sunset to enjoy his life. Unfortunately for him, his path would cross with the police, and I'm here to give you the details. And at the end of this true crime story, you would come to understand why I said that the word friend is being used so loosely, and also trust has become a very scarce commodity on the market. If you're ready, just buckle up and let's go. So the whole thing happened in a town in Ghana called Denchura, where this Togolese man by name Haruna Muba, aka Togo, was actually residing and working. Now, according to my research, Haruna Muba actually came to Ghana to partake in the illegal small surface mining activity, which is popularly called galamsey in the local dialect. Now, the activity in itself is largely illegal. Only very few small-scale miners are regulated here. So, Haruna Muba was already engaged in an illegality. Now, if you are not familiar with the galamsey operations in Ghana, most of the youth who engage in this usually have quite an amount of wealth because they come by the gold and they are not under any regulations to disclose anything, so all they make is for themselves. So it was a bit surprising that this Togolese national, Haruna Muba, was actually indulging in this galamsey or small surface mining activity in the Dintra Ayamfuri town in central region of Ghana, and for some reason he felt that that money was still not enough for him. So what did he do? He decided that he was going to step it up. And this is where greed begins to dictate terms to the greedy man. Because here you are, you've already crossed the border into someone's country, and you are engaging in an illegality which is actually making you money. But you decide that you are not content with that amount of money, so you are going to go to the next level. Now, what did he do at the next level? According to my research, Haruna Muba approached a gold buyer. Gold buyer in the circles of gold dealing in Ghana is more of a person who buys gold from various miners, including sometimes the small scale miners. So Haruna Muba got to know this gold dealer, and after building a rapport with him, he approached this gold dealer with a proposal. This was what he said. Haruna was asking this gold dealer if he knew any fetish priest who could help him get successful and wealthy through money rituals. If you are not familiar with the concept of money ritual, it's a very common practice to an extent in some parts of Africa, allegedly including Ghana. I live in Ghana, and I say allegedly because you hear the stories, but most often you don't really see the evidence at play. But it is really part of our culture to an extent. It's frowned upon, but that seems like the negative part of the culture. Other countries in Africa also have it, or let me say some other countries in Africa also have it. So it's not strange, just that it is against the law because most of the time it involves the loss of a life. So when Haruna approached this gold dealer was a bit perplexed, and he brushed Haruna off because it could have been a joke. But then Haruna kept insisting day by day, week by week. He was pressing on this gold dealer or this gold merchant that he needs him to connect him, Haruna, to someone who might be able to help him with ritual for him to get enough money. Eventually, the gold merchant realized that no, this guy is serious. And based on that, he decided that he would have to bring in the police because that type of money ritual actually involves the loss of a life. A life will have to be taken for the ritual to allegedly have the chance at being successful. So this gold merchant reported the whole thing to the police, after which they built a plot and gave it back to him to go and sell to Haruna. And in this plot, by my research, he was to inform Haruna that finally he has found a fetish priest who can help him with the money ritual and lead him to this place as we are watching. Now, when they got there, unknown to Haruna, the police had actually laid ambush with cameras, and some officers of the police were also part of the people who were playing the role as though they were part of the fetish priest and his camp, and even the fetish priest himself was also part of the police. So the whole thing was staged. But the culprit to be, in this case Haruna, did not know. He genuinely believed that he was coming to a fetish priest who was going to help him get more money after the money ritual sacrifice was completed. And when he was coming, he brought the person who was going to be used for the sacrifice for that money ritual to be successful. And this is where the plot thickens, because the person he brought is actually a friend of his that he has been working with since he came from Togo into Ghana. This is a friend who has supported him for him to assimilate properly into the Ghanaian society and has had his back, literally. But this guy was able to lie to this friend of his, trick him and get him to the location and tie him up, ready to sacrifice him for whatever scheme that he was going to execute with that ritual so he would get the money. They had actually promised him 80,000 Ghana cedis. That's the equivalent of 6,666 US dollars as his reward for bringing that friend of his for the money ritual. I don't know where you are watching this from, but tell me if 6,666 US dollars is enough to serve as the value of another person's life. That is how wicked this guy was, because it is bad enough you do it to another human being, but it is so outrageous if the person you are doing it to is actually someone you claim is your friend. That is how it is. The word is being used so loosely. People throw that word around, and I always say that very few people appreciate the meaning of the word friend. And just like that, Haruna Muba had betrayed the trust that this friend of his had in him. Now, when they entered this so-called shrine, they asked him if he was ready to go along with it. And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm ready. I've brought the guy, after all, you can see." But little did he know he was actually being recorded. That's the part I don't get. When I saw this initially, I thought maybe it was a movie or something. But so far, the things I've checked seems to suggest that it's accurate. It's a real life happening. And I think this guy wasn't smart enough, because this is not how the traditional fetish priest settings are. But then again, I think with desperation and greed being the forces driving him, stupidity was not far behind. So his level of intelligence obviously had slacked. Now, when they got into this fetish priest's abode, they asked him, "Are you ready to go ahead with it?" He said, "Yeah." And they said, "Okay, great. So recite these incantations." He did. And they said, "Okay, then that's the money as your reward for bringing him 80,000 Ghana cedis, the equivalent of 6,666 US dollars. And he was so excited. But just when he was about to terminate the friend he had brought for the money ritual, the police just yelled at him to freeze and placed him under arrest. At that point, revealing who they really were and the fact that the whole thing was a plot. Now, if you look at the guy he had brought, his friend that he brought to be used for the sacrifice, this friend of his was so traumatized, the police had to assure him that he shouldn't panic, he's in safe hands, and that they are the police and they are here to save him. But imagine, he was even asking this Togolese guy, the Haruna Muba, that, "Why do you do this to me? I thought you were my friend. I trusted you. Why do you trick me like this? What have I done to you?" And the culprit seemed so unfazed. He seemed so unbothered. He seemed so unfazed. And you could see the coldness with which he just shrugged off those questions without any remorse. And he didn't bother. He didn't care, because he was just focused on the Ghanaian cedi equivalent of 6,666 US dollars. That is very pathetic. And when he was asked what he was going to use the money for, he said he was going to buy a 4x4 vehicle. Really? Swapping someone else's life for a 4x4 vehicle? I think that is such a shame. Now, he's currently in the grips of the law. And I'm hoping that this guy will go in for life. That is my prayer, honestly. Because, one, he's already engaged in galamsey, which in itself is illegal. And then, more seriously, two, he was actually going to partake in a human sacrifice. That is conspiracy to kill, and I don't think the law is going to be easy on him. I don't know how the international community will come in, because he's not a Ghanaian national. He's a foreign national coming from Togo. But I don't expect that my country will yield to any pressure from Togo and let this guy go back to Togo, because in as much as the crime didn't happen, what he did is just as bad as though the crime has happened. And if he's not punished, there's a very high probability this guy will go and repeat this somewhere, but probably do it much smarter now, having learned from his mistakes. So I'm hoping that he's going to get the stiffest sanction or punishment available for what he has done. But again, my 2 cents and advice. Like I've already established, the word friendship is being used so loosely. People call people that are acquaintances of theirs, maybe colleagues of theirs, oh, friends, they are my friends. People just throw that word and tag people. He's my friend. She's my friend. I believe that friendship is the next best thing after siblings. Some friends become so loyal, they are almost family, or sometimes even family. And it's at that point that the word friend should be ascribed to them. A friend should have your back. A friend should defend you. A friend should be able to look you in the eye and tell you when you are going wrong and not patronize you when you are messing up. A friend should be sincere and demonstrate integrity. But all these are values that Haruna Muba, as a friend, betrayed his other friend on, and even went to the point that he was going to trade the life of his friend for a measly $6,666 US, just so he could buy a 4x4 vehicle. It's so pathetic, and like I said, I'm hoping that he's dealt with very harshly by the law. Now, if you are watching this video, I would advise that you take a cue from this. If somebody tells you, oh, escort me to this place, why don't you join me so we go here? Please, be very careful. This guy never knew that by deciding and agreeing to follow his friend, so-called friend Haruna Muba, into that part of town, he was actually in his last days on earth, because he was walking into a situation where he was availing himself as a human sacrifice. He didn't know. Other than that, he wouldn't have gone. Be very careful around you. Be very careful of your environment. You don't always need to be nice to everybody. There are certain things that you shut it down just as it came up. It doesn't matter what it is. Put your safety first. Put your security first. Protect yourself. Today is the 1st of December 2023. We have just 1 month more to end the year. I would love for us all to enter into 2024 in good health and in one piece and all together. So please, keep yourselves safe. Subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Hey, we have just 1 month, but kindly push the channel. Let's hit 2,000 subscribers before the year ends. I really appreciate that. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.